The video will explain a famous Spanish legend, the Lovers of Teruel, and analyze the reason why this legend still exists. Teruel is a town in Aragon, and it is located in eastern Spain. Nobody knows whether this legend is fiction or not, but it is thought that the main characters lived in the 13th century. The legend started circulating in the 14th century. There are several reasons why the Lovers of Teruel is still popular today. Before talking about Teruel in detail, let us first learn the summary of the story. Like other legends, the Lovers of Teruel also has many variations, but in this video, the most famous one will be presented. Lovers of Teruel took place in the 13th century. The main characters are the couple Diego de Marchilla, also called Juan Martinez de Marchilla in other versions, and Isabel de Segura. Although they had loved each since childhood, Diego was poorer than Isabel. For this reason, Isabel's father did not let them get married. However, Diego asked for him permission, so the father gave him a test. He told him if he could become rich in 5 years, he could marry his daughter. Diego decided to take part in a fight against the Muslims in Spain to meet this challenge. However, Isabel's father would not wait for Diego and tried to make his daughter marry someone else. Isabel refused and waited for him, but he did not return after the 5 years had passed, so she accepted the marriage. To everyone's surprise, Diego came back with great riches near the end of her wedding ceremony. But unfortunately, they could do nothing because the marriage ceremony had been completed. That night, Diego went into Isabel's room and asked for a kiss, but he refused because she now belonged to another man. The refusal shocked him so greatly, he died. The next day, the wedding bells became funeral bells. At the end of the funeral, Isabel kissed Diego's cold lips. In that moment, she also fell dead. After their tragic deaths, they were buried together. Why does this legend still exist? What are the factors? According to Cruikshank, there are 4 common motifs in the Lovers of Teruel. First, a woman, especially a heroine, is forced to marry another man during the absence of her lover. There are 2 separate elements here. The first one is a testing of a suitor through various ways. Sometimes he is tested by service, or sometimes by ordeal. The other is a circumstance or pressure which forces a young woman to marry a suitable husband even if she loves another man. The pressure is often from her parents, as can be seen in the Lovers of Teruel. Second, a lover died through grief at losing his or her lover. This motif can be seen in many tragedies. Cruikshank thinks the idea appeared in medieval era because he mentions 2 medieval tales as one of the earliest examples of this motif. One example is the story of Tristan and Isolde, who are characters of the Arthurian legend, and the other is Owl, who is a character of the Song of Roland and is Roland betrothed. Arthurian legend was formerly written in the beginning of the 12th century, although it is based on Celtic legend which existed from the 6th century, after Arthur fought and defended Britain against the Saxons. The Song of Roland came into existence in the end of the 11th century. Thirdly, someone kisses the dead lover and dies. This motif also has many examples, but one of the earliest appearances of this motif is in the story of Pulums and Jusby, in which the heroine kissed Pulum's lip, now cold in death. The story of Pulums and Jusby is an ancient Roman tale. Pilums believed his beloved Giuseppe was killed by a lion and stabbed himself because of his grief. Later, Giuseppe found Pilums dying. She then kissed him and killed herself. In this story, the kiss did not cause Giuseppe's death, but she died just after she kissed him. In the final motif, two dead lovers are buried together. Although were separated their entire lives, as long as the couple was side by side for all eternity. People may think this idea is a particularly romantic notion, but it can be found in many other kinds of literature. For example, in Legend of Pilums and Giuseppe and Tristan and Isolde, the same motif is used. There are similar tales in Scandinavia, Albania, Romania, France, Serbia, Afghanistan, Kurd, and other ballads or tales in all of which the lovers are buried together or nearby. Thanks to this motif, the tragedy of the Lovers of Teruel has a little bit of satisfaction in the end. The legend of the Lovers of Teruel has survived because, in a world where circumstances conspire to make the course of true love run less than smoothly, it assures us that the true love triumphs even over death. Or, to put it slightly differently, the Teruel story has been successful because its motif has struck a familiar chord with generation after generation of those who have come across it, to such an extent that more motifs of the same kind have been added to it. In summary, although they died, Diego and Isabel achieved true love in the end, and this appeals to many people in all periods. There is a universal concept in this legend, and that is why the Lovers of Teruel has been handed down. Another reason why the Lovers of Teruel did not disappear is that it has a good theme for works of art. This legend is a beautiful and impressive tragedy, so many artists created plays, literature, paintings, statues, movies, and songs. It helps to remind people of the tale or tell it in a new way. There are four very famous examples. First, Tirso de Molina, a famous Spanish Baroque dramatist, wrote the play entitled Los Amantes de Teruel, who was not from Teruel, but it is thought that he heard the story when he was in the monastery of his order at Oliver, near Teruel in 1640. His play was published in 1635. It inspired other works of art, and it might be said to be a pioneer. Second, Antonio Muñoz de Grain immortalized this theme in oils. He immortalized two famous pictures, and the more famous one treats the fourth motif. In the center, the dead Diego is lying down, and Isabel is lying on him. Only the central part gets the light, and it might celebrate the lovers. In addition, Isabel wears a white dress in spite of it being a funeral. It seems to be a wedding dress, so it can express that finally Diego and Isabel get married through their death. This painting is in the possession of the Madrid Museum. The other one treats the same motif, but it is more abstract and colorful, and there are only Diego and Isabel. Third, the film of The Lovers of Teruel was made in 1962. It is a French musical film and directed by Raymond Loder. Mikis Theodorakis, a Greek songwriter and composer, composed the music for this movie, and Edith Piaf, a French singer, who lent her voice to the soundtrack of the movie we are currently watching. Fourth, Juan de Abalos, a very famous and prominent Spanish sculptor, created two sculptures of Diego and Isabel. These two sculptures lie down side by side and look like they're holding hands, but in fact they're not. Nobody except the sculptor knows why this is, but it may express their lost opportunity for marital bliss. There are two remains under these sculptures. They were discovered in 1555, and it is thought to be Diego and Isabel, but there is no evidence of this, and this hypothesis is still being discussed. These are pieces of art in themselves, but they are only parts of a whole, telling a larger story which is the legend of Teruel. The relationship between these pieces of art and the story are appealing. Legends create material from which artists create works of art can be based of art, and the pieces of art they create enforces the popularity and longevity of the legend. Finally, how has the legend influenced the tourism of Teruel? Tourists go there to see the remains of the lovers. Teruel is a town in Aragon and the capital of the province. It is located in eastern Spain. Its population is the lowest of all Spanish province capitals. According to the OECD, the region is a typical, albeit extreme, example of a low-density remote area with an economic base facing serious challenges, a little more than its own asset to rely on for its economic development. The province was not very famous in the past. However, in 1999, Teruel launched its new tourism slogan, Teruel Existe. Teruel exists. Then, it started a campaign to be famous. One of the centerpieces for tourism is the beauty of the town's cultural inheritance. There are 4 churches which have been recognized by UNESCO as World Heritage Sites for the architecture of Aragon.